What's up guys, I'm Phoenix Master 1 and welcome back for some more Fire Emblem Heroes, and this is gonna be my Forma building guide for this month's Hall of Forms featuring Halloween MYRRH, Halloween MYRRH'S, Dozla, and also Spring Marisa. So I'll be going over the best skills that you should aim to get for these Forma units to get the bang for your buck, and I'll also go over my opinion of these units if they're worth your Forma Soul or not, especially if you're a free-to-play player, because we do have limited Forma Souls. And I always make these videos each month, so if you do enjoy them, then make sure to spook the like and subscribe button just like MYRRH. So with that said, let us begin. If you have any kind of basic doubt about Forma Souls and how they function, make sure to check out the comprehensive guide I have in the description. And this Hall of Forms is going to be having skills up to the 3 Houses Summer Banner and Legendary Pilot's Banner. So you're going to be able to get Attack Speed Menace, which was previously not available, and you can also get AR Fort Trace, so keep that in mind. Let us begin with the first unit on this batch, which is going to be Halloween MYRRH, and she's probably going to be the most popular Forma pick for many people because she's such a fan favorite, and she is a red armor dragon. She doesn't really have the greatest preferred weapon. This is really outdated at this point, so basically she needs to win a defense check against the opponent if she wants to make a follow-up attack in the player phase. So nowadays units just have auto follow-ups without really doing much. She's going to be getting a weapon refined to this weapon hopefully, and I think it's going to be in a couple of months, probably early next year, like in January, which is what I'm guessing. So she's a red armor dragon, which means that she's got the dual weakness of a dragon unit as well as an armor unit. And because she's an older unit, she cannot really hold candle to someone like Idun or Spring Idun, especially as a red armor dragon and for that role. As for the free-to-play players, overall she's going to be a decent near-save armor unit. I'll be elaborating more on this later on, so make sure you stick around, and that will help you decide if you want to get her or not. So that is Halloween MYRRH. Right now she's in a weird spot where she's waiting for a weapon refine. Isn't exactly the most impressive armor unit, but still is tanky and can be decent. So time will tell how she ages because of her weapon refine, and we'll probably see that in a couple of months. So if you're trying to get her as a Forma unit, then the first build is basically the ideal one that you should try to get. For her weapon, she doesn't have too many options. There are 2 5-star locked Dragon Breaths, Glittering Breath, and also Blackfire Breath. Blackfire Breath simply does not have good synergy with the save skills, and Glittering Breath isn't really all that good, and Pale Breath and Lightning Breath are going to be functionally better. So if you're trying to save up some grails and some feathers, then you could try to get Pale Breath or Lightning Breath depending on which build you're going for. So the first build is basically going to be giving you the best performance because it has a lot of the things which can help her as a tank. Pale Breath gives you the debuff neutralization to your attack and defense. Close defense will completely nullify any kind of visible buffs of the opponents. Crafty Fighter gives you the guard effect, and then Steady Breath Sacred Seal, which we are going to be getting tomorrow in Tempest Trial, gives you the special acceleration. So she's a complete package getting all of those effects, and she can be a pretty fantastic tank. The second build is the build if you're trying to go for Sturdy Stance 3. I don't think you should really try to go for Sturdy Stance because it's not as rare as Close Defense 4 in my opinion, but still if you end up getting that, then you can pair that up with Dragon's Ire because we don't really have a need of Crafty Fighter because Guard Effect is already present in Slot A skill, and Slick Fighter is also not needed because we are having Pale Breath. So in that case, Dragon Ires becomes a Slot B option for you. The third build is the far save build if you're trying to build up your MYRRH for that goal, and Distant Counter in general can be helpful and can future proof her when she gets a weapon refine. So say she gets a weapon refine that can give her extra resistance or some other effects, then Distant Counter can be pretty useful with that weapon refine, so that's pretty much my aim. And this is still an alright option for a far save MYRRH. So again, Pale Breath can be an option with Resistance Refine. So you can go with Distant Counter and have Crafty Fighter, which is going to be giving you the guard effect, which is super important for any kind of slow tank. And you can always get the special acceleration by using Steady Breath Sacred Seal, so that's why Crafty Fighter is a lot more useful now because of that Sacred Seal. And then you can just go with AR Far Save. So you can also go with some other far save builds. These are not too different from the Distant Counter build in terms of their performance, but they do use Lightning Breath over Distant Counter. The final build is for the people who are big MYRRH fans, and they are going to be building her up to +10. So she's again going to be getting a rerun in Halloween. So if you're looking forward to completing your merch project, then you could try to pick up Dragon Wall, which is going to be pretty good for a high investment MYRRH. And that's why you need high investment, because every single point of bulk resistance matters for this kind of Dragon Wall build. So let's see how she does against the meta threats with her near save and far save builds. This is going to be focused on ether rates, of course, because save skills are a lot more important in that game mode where you're going to be facing oppressive teams. So if you don't really care about ether rates, then you can just skip the section to the next character. But still, you want to look at this and just gauge how Halloween MYRRH does in the modern times against many of the modern units. So let's take a look at her near save build, which in my opinion is the preferred build for her. She's a lot better as a near save armor unit, and this is pretty much what you should aim to get if you're seeking good performance out of her. So this is how she functions in the dark season against node teams and a lot of the common physical threats which you're going to be facing. One thing which you have to keep in mind is that she's a dragon unit, and if in future they release any kind of duo or harmonic unit or a mythic unit with dragon effectiveness, then it is going to be a problem for MYRRH because she is a dragon. With that said, this is how her matchups look. She can actually be a pretty good near save tank. She can easily take on Node and Legendary Seeker, which are by far the two most common melee threats in the dark season. So light season is a lot tougher than the Astro season because of presence of Node and her Pathfinder, so that's why I'm kind of focusing more on that. So this is basically a quad mythic MYRRH with no MYRRH'S doing this kind of job. Don't use her in the Astro season because she will just get killed by even an unMYRRH'd Seros, so that is not a place to use her. She's mainly here for the light season. So a Forma unMYRRH'd Halloween MYRRH actually gives you the same amount of performance as a max invested plus 10 MYRRH'd Black Knight. And in some cases, Halloween MYRRH is going to be a bit better because she takes on Note and Legendary Seeker a bit better than Black Knight. Black Luna is quite strong, but unfortunately, there is damage reduction present in the modern times on units like Sigurd and Note, which are going to be by far the two most common threats. Though it is worth noting that Black Knight does handle Fallen Edelgard a lot better than Halloween MYRRH because of Black Luna. So if you don't really want to use a lot of your grails, your fodder, and a lot of your feathers, then you could try to go with unMYRRH'd Forma MYRRH, who's going to be helping you with the near save matchups, as you can see and compare how she does against Note and also Legendary Seeker. You can also run close defense 4 on Black Knight, but then he loses out on deeper neutralization and his power level also goes down because he doesn't get that extra attack. So this is pretty much the updated build which you can run on Black Knight. Now we have got steady breath and he doesn't really need a special fighter in slot B. Another point of comparison is other free-to-play red armor unit who can run near save, and that is going to be Arden. Now believe it or not, in my opinion, Arden is the best free-to-play near save armor unit because of his matchup spread. So he's no Brave Hector, but he can still be such a damn good near save armor unit. As you can see by the matchups, he can easily handle Note, Legendary Seeker, so many threats. In the light season, he's going to be having absolutely no trouble, and against like low merged Seros and low invested Seros, he can still take her out in the Astro season instead of just straight up dying. And the funny thing is that this is not even the optimal build with Arden. I do not even have plus attack IV on him, and his optimal build is actually with close defense 4 and slick fighter, which is a lot more expensive. This is on the cheaper side basically, and Arden does a fantastic job. So if you do have to do, and if you do want to invest into Arden, then this could be an option, but keep in mind it is going to be taking Grail and Feathers. But he's going to be better than Black Knight and Halloween MYRRH when it comes to being a near save armor unit. But if you don't want to spend your grails and feathers, then Halloween MYRRH could be a decent near save armor unit. Halloween MYRRH is a lot worse as a far save armor unit, and she takes us way too much damage from blue threads for my taste. She takes so much damage from a standard plus and Reinhardt, which is going to be not that good in the long run because he's a very common unit. Selena also does a lot of damage to her, and she cannot kill her back because of her Tome of Storms. And then she takes a lot of damage from dual lift as well. So those are going to be points of problems, and as a far save unit and as a save unit in general, you should not be taking a look at these matchups in a vacuum. You're going to be having to face a lot of these units in succession, so you want to make sure that you take as less of damage as you possibly can. And even in some individual matchups, in my opinion, she takes way too much damage. So don't really go for a far save Halloween MYRRH. Not the most optimal thing, even though I did state a lot of the builds. It's not going to be helping you, especially in Vault of Heaven against many oppressive and well-made teams. Halloween MYRRH does a lot better as a near save armor unit, as you can clearly see by her matchups and how she does. And if you're holding on to Winter's FEL, and if you're wondering between which one is the better one, then I would say that Halloween MYRRH should be your choice because she hits on the resistance, which is better than Zephiel, and she's also going to be getting a weapon refine down the line, so she will have some new toys to play with compared to Winter's FEL, who's probably not going to get a weapon refine for many years, if it's even possible. Halloween Laura Shell is a Green Mage Cavalier, and as a Green Mage Cavalier with no preferred weapon, she has incredible amounts of competition with Winter Bernadetta, now with Gunthra, and also Thunderhead Olwyn. So compared to those units, Laura Shell does not feel that unique, but still at the end of the day, she is a holy woman who can be too senseless, so that's something for Laura Shell fans. So pretty much what I'm trying to say is that she's not going to be helping you in a meta sense, but if you're a big Laura Shell fan, then this could be an option to grab some premium skills on her, but other than that, most people are not going to be going for her. The first build is the ideal one, which you should try to aim to get because it has got a lot of premium stuff and a lot of things which she really appreciates as a unit. So as a weapon, you should absolutely get Palladian Torch because it is by far the best inheritable green tome available, and it's also so rare, so make sure you get this. This is just so worth it, honestly. And she can basically be like a mini Gunthra in a sense with Palladian Torch, and you can also get attack speed catch and also have speed resistance far trace. And you can combo it up with attack resistance menace, which is going to be having good synergy with the Palladian Torch as well as the cat skill. And the far trace skill does give you the counter movement, which is really good, and it's also a lot rare compared to lull speed resistance present on the second build. So the second build is not as ideal as the first one, but still it's a good option. So you can have the solo skill in slot A because it will be having good synergy with the Palladian weapon, and you can have lull speed resistance. This is also a good option, but far trace is far more unique and does provide her with Canto. And again, with a Palladian Torch build, absolutely try to get some kind of menace skill. Attack resistance menace is going to be the most optimal one. There are also some other options like Susparo and attack speed push 4, which you could get, but overall I prefer these options. And if you cannot get speed resistance far trace, then attack resistance far trace is also going to be a decent option. So definitely try to get the first build if you're a big Laura Shell fan. Halloween Dozla is a colorless dagger armor, and he's basically like Winter Cecilia, but he has got more defense instead of resistance. So he can function as a decent tank by utilizing Courtly Mask, which is a pretty rare weapon that only few units can utilize, and he's one of them. And Farsave is in the game now, so he can function as a decent Farsave tank. But for free-to-play players, would I recommend this as a Farsave armor unit? Probably not, because you cannot really merge him easily, and there are going to be better Farsave armor units in future. At the very least, he can function better than Winter Jafar as a dagger Farsave armor unit. So let us begin with the builds if you're a really big Dozla fan and if you want to get him. So the first build is the ideal tanking build for him. You have got Courtly Mask, which gives you extra resistance, which is super good, and also gives you damage reduction. And Dozla being a slow unit, he's gonna get doubled a lot. And then you've got Mirror Stance 3 giving you the guard effect, Slick Fighter giving you the debuff neutralization, and then you can have the far save skill. So Courtly Mask is available in the Divine Code section, and if you already have it, then you can try to go for a more premium dagger in Caltrope Dagger or even Broadleaf Fan. So it kind of depends on if you have got that in Divine Code section or not. The first build is quite universal, it does work out pretty well in any kind of game mode. But the second build is a lot more Ether Raid centric because it uses Caltrope Dagger, and that pretty much means that you can take on a lot of the cavalry threats which are going to be really common, and you can just one-shot them with Special Fighter and a 2-turn cooldown special. And you have pretty much seen this in my previous Hall of Arms video with Winter Jafar and how it works, so that is the basic idea here. So you can go with Attack Res Unity to get some extra attack and also deal with debuffs, and then Special Fighter is going to be giving you the guard effect and the special acceleration for triggering 2-turn specials and just killing those annoying horse units with the effective damage and the special. So the third build is utilizing Courtly Mask, but it is going to be slightly different than the first build. So this allows you to have Distant Defense 4, which can neutralize any of the visible buffs of the opponents, and you can have Crafty Fighter to have the guard effect. So you're not going to be having any kind of way of dealing with debuffs like the first two builds, so that could be a disadvantage, but most of the time I feel like picking Crafty Fighter is going to be better than picking Slick Fighter because guard effect is a lot more useful for him as a tank and as a unit. And now let's take a look at his matchups and how he does in Ether Raid's offense as a far save tank. Save skills are a lot more relevant in Ether Raid, so that's why I'm taking a look at from that perspective. When it comes to the same class comparison, Winter Cecilia is going to be a better colorless dagger armor unit with far save than Dozla because she does have better resistance, and that is much more preferred in Ether Raid's offense. So Dozla is a decent tank, but nothing really too impressive as a far save unit. because he takes quite a bit of damage from some of these threats. And again, try to look at these matchups not in vacuum. You're going to be having to face these units in succession, so less damage is preferred, but still Quarterly Mask does give him that damage reduction, which can help him in ether raids where most of the units are going to be doubling him, and then the other units like Dual Lift and Bramimon do have the auto follow up. But if these units have higher investment, or like Bramimon is in his bonus season, then it is going to be really tough for someone like Halloween Dozla. So like I said before, I wouldn't really recommend this to a free-to-play player to spend their Forma Soul on, and maybe you could try to get this if you have a lot of Forma Souls and if you just purchase them. And if you do like Dozla, he's a decent unit but nothing really too overly impressive as a tank. Let's move on to the final unit of this batch, and that is going to be Spring Marisa. And she's probably the unit that is going to be least obtained through Forma Soul because she has insane competition as a Lance Flyer. I can just put these images forward and you can see how she does against these units who are present in 3-star 4-star pool. And Shigure is actually from the same generation and has got really similar stat spread to her, and he is probably going to get a weapon refine sooner or later. And Spring Marisa is a seasonal unit who's 5-star logged and is a lot harder to get the MYRRH'S for. So I feel like Spring Marisa is a unit which only the dedicated Marisa fans are going to be going after. So it is worth noting that in March of 2021, I believe that we did get her in the limited ephemera pool. So if you're a big Marisa fan, then you probably got her as a manual to increase the merch count. So here are the options for her weapon. The 3 main weapons that you should be looking out for are going to be Springy Lance, Flowing Lance, and its Curtains. Its Curtains is a lot more rare weapon because it's from a 5-star lock seasonal unit, but functionally Springy Lance and Flowing Lance are going to be a bit better for you in combat. Springy Lance provides you with extra attack and speed, which is much needed for Marisa, and Flowing Lance provides you with lull attack defense, which is something which flyers cannot have access to. So both of these lances do give her unique things for combat. Its Curtains is a lot better for gale forcing and stuff like that, but I feel like Marisa is not the best in that aspect because she doesn't have the highest attack stat to trigger Heavy Blade, especially at low investment. So the first build utilizes Life and Death 4, which is actually pretty good synergy with Dive Bomb, and it is also going to be helping you attract chill attack, chill speed debuffs away from your opponents to yourself, and Springy Lance does neutralize the debuffs to your attack and speed, so overall it does work out pretty well. Dive Bomb is a really good slot B option that you can try to get on her, and her best slot C option is going to be Speed Defense Rain, which is going to be giving her the consistent debuffs, which she really appreciates a lot. The second build tries to utilize Flowing Lance and basically tries to get a lot of the in-combat debuffs from the Flowing Lance, Speed Defense Near Trace, and also Speed Defense Rain. Attack speed solo here is going to be synergizing well with the solo condition of Flowing Lance, and you can run the Near Trace skill to get the Canto, which can be pretty helpful. So the main slot B options for her are going to be Dive Bomb and Speed Defense Near Trace, so definitely try to get those 2 options if you can, and Speed Defense Rain is going to be a must-have on her. I feel like you can also get a Menace skill, and that could be good, but overall the Rain skill is a bit better because you can always buff up Marisa externally by some other units, so that's why I prefer Rain skill over Menace skill for her slot C. And Attack Speed Catch can also be a premium option that you can get for slot A, and there are also some other options like Susparo 3 and also Attack Speed Push 4. Attack Speed Push 4 is not going to be having good synergy with Dive Bomb, so try to avoid that, and these options are a bit better for that if you do aim to use Dive Bomb. And Susparo can be a decent option with Dive Bomb. So that is going to be the Holo Forms for this month. Next month is going to be Path of Radiance, and these are my guesses for the Forma roster. I feel like I have more chances of being right here because Path of Radiance really does not have many options to pick from, especially premium ones that it could put on Holo Forms. So last time we had got Valentine Grail, Ike, Sora, and also Mist. So this time I feel like you could have Apostle and her Holy Guard, and that could be pretty timely addition because Sanaki just got a weapon refine. So Bright Sanaki is a pretty good green option that you could put, and then you can just have Bright Sigrun and Tanith and have random colorless Nefni because colorless pool in Path of Radiance does not have too many options. So I could see Dancer Nefni being an option. So you could have Mia, Nefni, and also Halloween versions of Ileana and Rolf. And Halloween Ileana is also present in the Divine Code section, and I feel like she's going to be a really good incentivizing option as a Farsave armor tank, and Rolf is the Grail option with this pool. Still, I feel like the first lineup is a lot more likely because Bridal Sanaki just got a weapon refine, and last time we already got Grail Mercenaries in a way, so this could be their way of mixing up the themes by having Apostle and her Holy Guard. So let me know what you think about this speculation, and you can come a month later and see if I was right or not. So that is going to be it for this Hall of Forms Forma guide. I hope you all enjoyed. Make sure to share this video with your friends if you know any of them are trying to build up any of these Forma units. I went in depth with their builds and gave you the best options. So I want to thank all of my YouTube members for their constant support. If you enjoyed, then please be sure to leave a like and a comment. Helps me tremendously, and be sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell, because I wish YouTube sub boxes would show my videos as many times as I see Defiance skills in Hall of Forms show up for me. So with that said, I'll see you guys next time. Thank you so much for watching and have a great day.